Good evening. Excuse me, I apologize. I'm getting over my allergies at the moment. But here we're going to be looking at my return on investment presentation assignment. So there's first a couple things we kind of need to identify, definitions, meanings, things like that. And the first one of those is, what is a return on investment, or an ROI is an easier way to say it when we are specifically talking about presentations. So an ROI, or return on investment, is the ratio between the net income, which is the money that you're gaining, and the investment, or the cost that you spent to create the product that's then bringing in the income. If you have a high ROI, it means that your investment's gains are favorable to the cost. It means that it's making more money than it is costing to create the product. And specifically as a performance measure, ROI is used to evaluate efficiency of the investment, or to compare the efficiencies of several different investments. So for example, if you have 3 products that you are selling as a company, you can use the ROI to see which ones are bringing in the most money and which ones may even be losing money. Next, we need to look at how the ROI calculations are made. This is made through the tool that I specifically use a lot within my job is the American Council of Education's ROI model. We are an education company, and this is just kind of the model that we have chosen to use. However, we don't use this model to a T. We kind of use a bit of a modified version to make it work best for us. And daily within my job of 30 different courses that we are selling, I'm using this model to kind of see which courses are bringing in the most profit, which ones are struggling, and seeing then what we can edit and change to those struggling courses to make them better. So the first step is to enter institution data. Now, for the American Council of Education's model, this is generally inputted like publicly shared data that will then be populated to give the most accurate calculations possible. For my company being so small, we don't have publicly shared data like that because we are a real estate school, not a college or a university. So instead, we just take all the data that we keep on hand for ourselves personally. Step 2 is the improvement interest. This is where the person who is conducting the ROI selects what specifically they're wanting to look at within the reports. Usually big schools will use things like population growth, pass rates, and class sizes. For example, how many people are taking certain classes as their interest. For me at my department or my school, we focus on pass rates in the amount of people that are passing our courses versus the amount of people who are purchasing our courses versus the amount of people who are actually in the courses and working through them on a daily basis. Step 3 is course level information. This one's kind of straightforward. It's where you put in the specific information about the chosen improvement interest group. So for example, information about the students, information about the courses they're taking. It's more of those fine details. And this is also the same at my school as well. Step 4 is reviewing potential post-effort student course rates. Excuse me. So this is where the users look at the anticipated pass rates of students using the new improvement strategies that have been proposed. And then we begin to make plans of how to implement these within the school. This is the exact same for me at my real estate school. We look at what we want our pass rates to be. We look at some of the ideas that we have to help improve student pass rates, and then we make plans of how to implement those to our students and give them access to those in the best way possible. Step 5 is effort-related costs and cost savings. This is where we look at the fees. This could be one-time, recurring, unexpected costs, and what it's going to cost to get this product out there. There's lots of different things to think about with this. For example, within my company, we think about hours spent. How many people are we going to have to use to create this project, and how long are they going to have to work on the project? We also have to look at Moodle, which is what we use for our courses, what it's going to cost for students to use Moodle, what it's going to cost for us to use editors and publishers and just all those different things. You kind of add that all together to see how much of an investment it's going to cost for you in this course. And then finally, step 6 is the enrollment strategies. This is where the users or the person conducting the ROI selects one of, there's 3 typical enrollment strategies that are used specifically within the American Council of Education's process. And then you choose one that your institution or school is likely to adopt. And then you use this as the goal for the estimated increase in student retention generated by the improvement efforts. So, for example, for me at my school recently, we were having a problem with students not passing. They were passing our personal final exam for our course, but then after that, the students go on and take a state licensed exam. And we were having problems with our pass rates for that state licensed exam not being quite as high as we wanted. So we took the time and did an ROI strategy of adding exam prep to all of our courses. And we looked at several different options, and then we ended up choosing one that worked best for us to then give students better options and better abilities to pass their final exam. So now you look at how does the ROI work. There's kind of three things that you can use this for. It calculates the total net revenue, or how much your company stands to gain in profits over a set period of time. It also calculates cost savings. So maybe your return on investment that you're looking at isn't necessarily going to bring in a ton of money, but it is going to save the company a ton of money. And that still is kind of considered a profit within business terms. And then also it makes note, and this is the special thing about ROIs, so they make note of potential additional costs and how this can affect the end goals. So for example, with Moodle, how much it's going to cost for each student to have a course, exam, etc., random things like that may come in that you don't really necessarily think of as costs when you're coming to these things. And now let's look at how, I know I've already explained a lot of this, but we're also going to look deeper into how I see the ROI in my everyday work. So I'm the sole instructional designer and content specialist for a real estate schools in Virginia. I'm in charge of managing 30 plus licensing, continuing education, and post-licensing classes. And there's a lot of these courses, like previously stated, and I really need to use this ROI on a daily basis to see what courses specifically within my company are very profitable, which ones are struggling, and which ones are maybe losing money that I need to then take my time and efforts to improve to make it for a better business model. I, again, like I mentioned, kind of use the modified version of the American Council of Education's model. And as previously mentioned, again, what I specifically look for is what courses students are buying, the percentage of students passing the final exams, both our course's final exam and the final exam for the state licensing test. And then also not even just the students who are going on to successfully pass all the tests, but the ones who are actually going on to complete the application process to attain a real estate license. And here's my references. Thank you. I hope that you have a great rest of your day.